Good morning. I'm not muted, and I'm Ray Orsini. This is the ConnectWise PitchIT 2023 Vendor Spotlight, as hosted by MMN. And joining me, as we do every week, is Mr. Sean Magnanimous, amazing, somewhat shiny forehead, Lardo. How you doing, Sean?
You know, I need to get some powder, some foundation on there, I guess. I'm starting to reflect. I want to be a bright, shining star, but I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. You know, when you get the powder, not that I may have done this myself, but you have to make sure you match skin tone. It's very important.
You have done it. I've watched you do it before.
Yeah, we did absolutely do that. I mean, and I see the people in the chat here saying, you know, I see Dr. Zoidberg, as always. Every PitchIT, Sean and Ray. Sean, you do the reading. You have better eyes than me.
Well, yeah, I mean, at your age, Every pitch it, Ray and Sean should have to do a 5-second TikTok dance to the theme music before the talking starts. Well, if it was it's not my beat, it's not my genre. And I'm not really sure how to even go. It'd just be like, I don't, it's a
What
funky
is that
beat.
like the standard fist pump thing? Is that
I don't know what
like
to do with it. It's like almost like the Carlton meets like
okay?
Johnny Carson. Yeah, like
How
that.
about
But
the like
no, don't.
no
No,
no
I don't
YMC?
even.
Okay. Anyway, we're not here for us. We're not here for our shenanigans.
I don't even know why we're
We're
here
here
anymore. I've
for
lost. I have no
I.
idea.
It's for the hat. I'm not wearing it just for you though. So Uh, so anyway, so what we are here for is to showcase two contestants. So if it's your first time joining us, we're going to be showcasing two contestants from the 27 contestants in the Pitch It contest that's being hosted by ConnectWise and managed by Mr. Sean Lardo. It's his other baby. Carlos is his first baby. This is
Carlos
his
is
other
my
baby.
first.
And these are vendors that are in the space, some new, some existing and just getting into the channel. But all of these vendors have committed to serving the MSP ecosystem and especially serving by integrating with platforms that MSPs use,
Mhm.
including ConnectWise, right?
Yep, that's absolutely correct.
ConnectWise products. So we have the two contestants today, and the goal is that pitch, right? That pitch is the hardest thing in the world. Finding out that 30-second pitch, being able to deliver it easily, and being clear, more clear than the words I'm using, and being able to
Yes.
tell them everything about your company, but quickly. What's the secret to that? Like, if you had to distill it down to like 5 words, what's the secret there?
So there's 3 areas that you always ask, right, when you buy
That's
something.
more than 5 words.
Well,
No, I'm sorry.
okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, good. That's that. No, I like that. Okay, good. Let's go with it. Problem solved. How they solve it. That's 5 words. That's 6 words.
There you go. Yeah, and that's the catch, right? Because a lot of these companies, sometimes they're founder led, some are executive led, but wherever they're at, they have the same need. You have to be able to get in front of an audience, tell them the what, the why, the how, what's so
Mhm.
important, very, very quickly.
It
Right?
is, and you have to start with what the problem you're solving is, because otherwise you start talking. You need to talk from the back and reverse engineer the conversation. And the back
Mhm.
is the problem you solved, but it was actually the front of the cart because you had this issue. It was like, I can't do this, so I have to fix it, and this is what we're going to fix. If I tell you that exactly it is exactly what I'm solving, then the conversation can develop from there. But they have to know what problem you're solving, why you chose to solve it, and how you're going to solve it, because that covers the position of the problem to the authority of you and to the passion behind when you were building it out.
I agree 100%. And that's what you're trying to do, right? With your dais of coaches, of community
Yep.
experts, thought leaders, some previous Pitch It contestant winners and participants, all coaching these people to get to the final goal of being on stage at IT Nation Connect, winning that final prize. Not the
Absolutely.
steak knives.
No, well, I mean, they're good
Maybe the
dollar
steak
store
knives.
steak knives, so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do is this is first time joining. This is recorded. We're streaming live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And please comment away. This is a show. We want to see what's going on. Talking about our awesome funky music. Absolutely, we love to hear it. And we're gonna have each contestant on to talk about their company a little bit. And then on the back 5, we're gonna give them their 30 seconds to give their elevator pitch. And you guys will vote and tell us which ones are your favorite for the week. How's it sound? Good?
I'm stoked. I'm ready to go.
All right. So why don't you do us a favor and introduce our first gentleman, Mr. Ian Garrett.
Well, you already started that, but okay, thank you. I guess I'll finish the introduction of Ian Garrett. Yes. We rehearse this all the time, everybody. If you don't know,
Yeah, absolutely.
we are a well-oiled machine, and we're even about to be over our time. Shit. So let's get to it. Let's bring on Ian Garrett from Phalanx. I'm not going to do too much more with him because he needs to get talking.
Hello. Great to be here.
What's up, dude?
Not much. Just happy to be talking about Phalanx.
Really? You're that happy to talk about Phalanx? I mean, I can think of other things we could talk about too. Let's give some background on you, man. Ian, what do you do with the company? What is Phalanx?
Yeah, so I'm the co-founder, CEO of Phalanx. Been doing cybersecurity for the last 10 years or so. Started in the Army doing offensive cyber operations and capabilities development. Had gone into industry a bit, and then really what we saw when everyone shifted to remote work in 2020, there was a major gap in data security that we wanted to get together and solve, and we're doing that with Phalanx.
Absolutely. All right, cool. And so Phalanx itself.
Yeah, so
Where's
we're
it cool?
a lightweight DLP and document mapping solution, and I know DLP is a dirty word. So how we're really differentiating.
Those are the projectors, right? That's the Epson. You got to change the bulb every 1,000 hours.
Yeah,
What's DLP?
data loss prevention. As you may know, it's known as a necessary evil. So we wanted to focus on providing a version of data loss prevention that doesn't suck. So mainly, doesn't take months to deploy, doesn't take hours a week to manage, and something that's honestly human friendly, which is something that we found is really missing in this market.
Why is data loss prevention so important? I mean, we have these tools; they're built into 365. It's not a new thing. What is the pain point you're trying to address here?
Right. So the biggest thing that we found is two main areas. So with the existing kind of built-in version of DLP, we found that it's very difficult to configure, takes a lot of time, takes a lot of experience, and there's a massive shortage in the cybersecurity talent pool right now. So there just isn't enough people to fill and learn the skills to just utilize the existing tech. And on the other side of the coin, for kind of bolt-on DLPs that exist, other vendors, we found that it's usually an all or nothing. So you either have to have it for your whole organization, or it doesn't work at all. And because of that, it takes hours, or months to deploy, hours to manage, and it's very human centric. So it requires you to type in and hand jam rules all day.
So you mentioned part of the things you're addressing is maybe there's not that skill set. I think somebody's self-identifying is not having that skill set. Saying I password protect my SharePoint files isn't that DLP. Can you talk about how deep does this go, right? Because I know everybody has their own iteration of what this looks like. What is the appropriate skill set? Who should be doing this?
Right. So, I mean, really, so the way we wanted to approach it was to leverage automation so that we don't have to rely on people to come with their appropriate skill sets, that we bake it into the product itself. So that way you don't have to necessarily grab someone with whatever 15 years of DLP experience to be able to configure it properly. But and we wanted to solve it in a way that it focuses on two main things, which is part of that document mapping solution is really the visibility component. It's hard to protect what you don't even know exists. And on the other side of it, we wanted to use a tried and true method, which is encryption, which again can potentially be a dirty word, as people are like, that takes a lot of work to manage. We'll make that, we're like, how do we make encryption easy, and how do we show people what exists, and how do we mash it together in a way that you don't have to hire someone to sit there and hand jam stuff all day.
How do you define? And Ray was what I was hearing from Ray, even, and my question immediately: data protection is varied based off the person and what data they're consisted of, right? Whatever their role is. So how do you determine like what's the level of this you have to have, or what platforms, or back to skill set even, like how do you determine this?
Yeah, so going back to, or it's going to kind of how other people are solving. If you think about it, a lot of times they create their own secure enclave, and they're like, your own secure data, bring it to us, we'll protect it, but outside of that, we're on our own. Which again, that goes back to like, what is your role? What data are you handling? And that gets very tedious for an organization to try to actually put together. So we wanted to take kind of the opposite approach. So instead of making the secure action something that's the special thing you're doing, let's make the security the default, and then the special action is exposing that data. So what that looks like on our end is essentially taking environments that people are already working on. So if they're using Office 365, Google Workspace, local machines, whatever, we say we'll overlay on that and turn those into secure environments. So that way, if you have secure information, it'll be automatically secured. But also if you have just kind of whatever information, in 2023, it's pretty cheap to go ahead and run computing power. So we're like, if we encrypt some files that are not that sensitive, not a big deal. But honestly, as long as we're encrypting the files that are sensitive, again, it's better to overshoot that, make the exposure the specialty.
Got it. What about multiple platforms? Oh, sorry, go.
Okay. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to ask, like, what you're talking about data, it's everywhere, right? and even like when Ray and I worked together, even we were migrating over to other stuff, right? And so that's already a challenge in itself. But how do you tell people how to best practice on, hey, use this platform, data should store here, stop using all these other ones, or if they have no choice but they have to because of their client base, how do you go about that? How do you approach that?
Yeah, I mean, great question. We started really with focusing on, you know, what are people doing today? So kind of going into what you were mentioning, does your client base require something? You know, do you have a certain operations within the organization that works well? So we say, what are you using today? And let's look at how we can adapt those tools to be, you know, the most cyber secure. And that even includes even going back further to the Office 365 comment that, you know, really there's a lot of tools that exist within existing platforms that people should be leveraging that don't require, you know, a ton of security knowledge to be able to do appropriately. So, you know, we're in addition to helping people with Phalanx, we also just generally try to leverage their existing technologies as much as possible so that you don't have to keep having a mishmash of vendors and environments altogether.
Perfect. Cool.
So I see here a question in the chat already. Apparently they're excited about DLP. They're asking, are you using Microsoft tools or your own? I think that's a question because there are overlays like SIP, for example, right? The CyberJane Approved Partner Portal. That's a management interface for Microsoft tools. Is that what Phalanx is, or you're using your own tools, your own repositories for the encryption?
Well, for one, always love to meet people that are pumped about DLP, as pumped as we are. But yeah, so the great question on this. This is a custom Phalanx tool, and by custom I mean we've developed our own software. It's not custom per customer, but it isn't just a specific, you know, overlay of using the functionality of MS tools. We have our own product that goes out as a endpoint agent that's super lightweight, similar to installing, you know, Zoom on people's laptops, and then a Chrome extension for the cloud environments. But it is a proprietary Phalanx technology.
I like that. So okay, so you can work in conjunction with these tools.
Yes. So you know, what we wanted to do is be able to enable as many collaborations as possible. We are working with a number of organizations for actual integrations as well to be able to even more closely work alongside. But, you know, ultimately we believe that a defense in depth is the best way to run a security program. We think that, you know, the best way to start is taking an inventory of all your cyber assets and make sure you have something for each thing. So we didn't want to create something that would essentially, you know, ruin your other components of your security program because you're using Phalanx.
Got it. Okay, I'm done, Rick. Sorry, not really, but you're muted, so I got this. So a question from Doug Joyborg. I got it. So as a CWM user, I get and send a lot of documents through attachments to tickets. Does Phalanx integrate into this to help encrypt those files? How can I use this with my PSA?
Yeah, so we don't have a direct integrations just yet, but we do have a linking system that would be directly useful for this. So pretty much if you imagine just kind of the similar links as like a Google Drive link, OneDrive link, DocSend link, any of those, we have built that into the platform, but we also extend that out to the desktop. So if you have a file on your desktop, instead of having to open a browser, sign into a thing, go here and there, you literally just right click a file, hit send, it'll encrypt it in place, generate that link for you. You know, you're able to deal with a bunch of settings if you want, or a bunch of defaults. So in this case, you would just pop that link right in there. And then so you no longer have data, you know, sitting resident in there unencrypted, or even if it was encrypted and you have to deal with it. So that way it's, again, pretty easy to access from from an organization to organization or a third party.
Do you want to unmute?
I mean, I could.
Welcome to the conversation, Ray. And everybody, Ray Orsini.
Yay. No, I was so entrenched. I'm also, like Aaron, also excited about DLP. I mean, there's nothing that gets me as excited about as Epson light bulbs. Now, so who's the best use case for this, right? Like, I mean, I know it's easy to say everybody, right? Like, as I often say with MFA and encryption and all the other security stack. And let's be honest, this is absolutely controlling your data is absolutely part of your security stack. There's no question about that. But who is this most ideal for? Who is the ideal client to leverage Phalanx services?
Yeah, so we, unsurprisingly, hey, it could be everybody, right? But we found there's a couple different types of organizations that really benefit from Phalanx. And for one, it starts with the data. So, of course, protecting all your data is a great thing, but protecting your sensitive data is more important from, especially a business perspective. So if you got PII, PHI, CUI for the government contractors, any kind of financial informations, that kind of data specifically, and really just the teams that deal with that. So what's unique about what we've done is we built something that brings value on a team by team basis. Going back to, it's not an all or nothing with Phalanx. So if you have a finance team within your organization or an HR team that deals with sensitive stuff, you could deploy it out just for them, and you don't have to worry about it, putting it for the rest of your organization. Or if you have a defense contractor that certain project needs the extra security. And on the other side is actually, so again, we can go big, we can go small. We found that on the large scale enterprise side that people are interested in using us for teams within the larger organization. But where I think we really shine is for those smaller organizations and mid-sized organizations, ones that can't afford a traditional legacy DLP, one that can't afford it from a staffing standpoint. They don't they cannot deploy this thing because they just don't have enough people. And ones that, are looking for initial entry, just starting security programs, like what's an initial thing that I can lay down to protect first? We're a great solution for that as you're building out the rest of your security program.
Nice. Yeah,
I'm still muted. It's all good. It doesn't
got
matter,
you, Ray.
though. You know what, though? You know what? Since you're going to read for me, you can read that. How's that?
Oh, my Lord. I have a Samsung Projo with a 65 bulb. And what are your suggested calibration settings be for this DLP?
I think your data is definitely solid with that setup. I don't think there's going to have any data breaches with that setup.
It's really a question of analog or digital at that point.
I just don't understand why he knows her whole serial number still either. Honestly, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand that. Anyway, let's get back to this intense conversation on DLP.
Why don't you take the real question? Why don't you take that one?
Yeah, that is a great question, actually. Thank you, Richard, for providing some sort of clarity and professionalism to this show. Is there any client that's too small?
And no. So that's the great thing about what we wanted to do. And part of, our mission of what we've designed Phalanx for is we found that large scale enterprise has plenty of support. We're happy to help there too, but we found that on the other side of the spectrum that there just isn't enough for small teams, small businesses, even sole proprietors and consultants. If they're dealing with, let's say you're for a single member LLC accounting firm, and you're bringing in, plenty of sensitive information for your clients. There's not a lot of great solutions that are easy, don't require you to know a lot of security knowledge, but still protect you. So we wanted to be that solution for those kind of organizations. So short answer, no.
Okay. Yeah. Now, my only question to that, and I'm done with it, Ray, I promise, is the ability. One question MSP owners will ask is how much work is this going to take? Because is it worth it? Is it worth the squeeze? Ultimately, is what they want to know. So
he was trying to say, is the juice worth
the squeeze? I was about to say G-Easy, and somehow G-Easy is not juice. So what's the process like for implementation or using your tool and efficiency wise?
Yeah, so we designed it for one with MSPs in mind. So we as we were designing out the product and building out the dashboards and everything, we were working with a number of MSPs as design partners to make sure that what we were building wasn't just good for a security team, but also good for MSPs managing security, the security programs. So we have multi-tenancy in place and everything. So from our deployment standpoint, we wanted to make sure it was easy, takes less than 24 hours, configuration's easy. Particularly if you have a number of customers that have the same kind of profile, you're able to build those out and just push that across the board. So it's even easier if you're doing multiple deployments. So ultimately, yeah, we built it specifically for MSP management in mind. So, easy as possible, really.
I love it.
So I see a question here from Zoidberg. I see on the website there are some non-MSP verticals listed. Can I resell Phalanx if I service those verticals? And I'll extend that. Are you channel only, or do you sell directly?
So we do direct. We do reselling agreements that are separate from our channel partner MSP agreements, and it really depends on what works best for the organization. The main thing I know selling direct with a channel can be a dirty word, but we again focused on a couple different things to make sure we never conflict with our channel partners, because we prioritize them. You know, they're the ones that are pushing us out and helping their own clients with Phalanx. So for one, the markdown is enough where, again, we built the program with partners that helped us price everything out, so everyone's margins work out great without ever doing any conflicts. And the second, you know, deal registration, it's all about deal registration. So anytime anyone's saying like, hey, I'm going after this, we're hands off.
Well, it seems like that's a popular question because I see Sarah was just about to ask the same thing. Well, thanks so much, Ian. We go ahead and stay in the green room. We will bring you back for your 30-second pitch contest. But Sean's smiling. Mr. Alligator Smile, you wanna introduce our next guest? I won't say their name so you don't get.
Well, no, why don't you? You know, we're like ebony and ivory, and so you can just do your part. You say the first half, I say the second. I don't know. Anyway, fine.
Or like Coffee and Creamer, like our next guest, Mr. Wayne Creamer.
See, there it goes. You couldn't resist yourself. So
I was dying to say it. It was,
I know, right? So here it goes, right? So we're gonna bring on Wayne Creamer, right? But of Symoda. But let me preface this with the fact that the guy is from Ireland originally, but lives in Canada. So I'm having a hard time understanding what happened. But he understands whiskey, he understands vodka, and so
he's
like
our people.
Yeah, he's absolutely. We were having a conversation a couple hours ago about booze. So because I was saying how I just picked up.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you, Rich. I appreciate it.
Basil Hayden toast, great drink, by the way.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Just saying. All right, I'm done.
Who's the coffee? Who's the creamer? Oh, geez. I'm slightly darker than you. So
I feel like I'm the creamer, right? I mean, I'm Irish and stuff like that. I mean,
you know what? Why don't we bring Ben on and let him talk?
Let's bring Wayne on now. Nobody else is
Wayne. I'm sorry.
Ben, Wayne, call it whatever. You know.
I'm not doing coffee today, so my brain is a little frazzled. So I apologize in advance to everybody. How you doing, Wayne?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for introduction. I feel like you gave my family life story to everybody there. Yeah,
you're welcome. And
just in case, your middle name is not Ben, right? Like, there's no chance there's a Ben in there.
No. Unfortunately, I can change it if you want. If that helps.
Oh, sweet, great customer service. Starting off on the right foot.
It will not help because you'll change it and then he'll change it again, so it really doesn't matter. So
exactly.
Then it'll be like freaking Gertrude or something with the next name. So it doesn't even. There's no rhyme or reason. Just like there's no rhyme or reason to your all-in-one behind you as well. I want to point that out again.
Thank you. Indeed. Yeah. No, it's lovely. It's a nice device that reminds us why we never want to go back to having fax machines, just like emails and phone.
Hey Ray, why don't you tell me how you feel about that?
I absolutely agree. Please.
Those aren't the words he uses behind the door. Let's be honest. When he's on the air, it's not the same conversation.
That's a different conversation. I'm sorry, Ben. Please go ahead, Ben.
Ben.
We'll just stay with Ben for now. It's good.
If it makes you feel better, I've known Sean for over a decade, and I still call his brother Barney, and his brother's name is not Barney.
And it was a legitimate conversation. One day he's like, "And so how's Barney?" I was like, "Who's Barney?" He's like, "Your brother." I'm like, "His name is Scott." He's not even there.
Yeah, completely my fault.
That's no problem at all. No problem at all. Thanks for popping up my actual name. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's our producer Phil saying, "This is his name. Read the show notes. Do it right." All right, Wayne. I apologize. Tell us about Symoda and everything about you, man.
Indeed, thanks very much, Ray. So Symoda, we're a communications app. We're a SaaS-based solution that's directly integrated into PSAs that helps people better communicate with, where MSPs clients better communicate with them and their ticketing system and what's going on in the day-to-day environment.
So yeah, I got you, Ray. Just take your time over there. So you know, in the ever ongoing issue of tech support and the end users and communication gaps, how do you fit into this?
So we've designed ourselves to be app centric. So we're straight away looking to develop things off the OS layer from both Android and from Android and iOS. And we want to be able to bring the additional functionality from base notifications to people, as well as giving a single layer point of contact for people to come in and communicate with an MSP. And really, we want to be able to just make things frictionless, like from now when you go to order a pizza from Domino's and you know exactly what's going on with that pizza and if it's in the oven or if someone's delivering it to you, we want to be able to bring that style of service to an MSP to help solve that communication issue and increase stickiness for their clients.
Oh, yeah, I
So
got
let
it.
me
So you're
ask
like,
you a question.
well, you were muted, so I was just getting to it. But now that you're back, by all means, go ahead.
I apologize to the audience. So let me ask you a question. Communication, connectivity, collaboration, these words get brought up a lot and they have different meanings to everybody, and they've absolutely evolved over the years, right? Where do you see this going? Where do you see, why is now the time for Symoda, for the MSP audience to embrace Symoda and enhance their communication needs, right?
Indeed, it's a great question, and to touch on a couple of pieces here. We've gone through quite an evolution of service delivery as MSPs in the last while. I come from MSP space and background myself, and from the Great Resignation to people working remotely to the advent of security and the need of security, we're creating more friction more than ever for people to be able to get access to services. And that's becoming more problematic. And we truly have to make solutions that are designed for people who are going to be working where they're going to be working in the future, whether that's mobile, whether that's remotely. And it has to be a far better ease of use. It's got to be quick. It's got to be using tools like OpenAI. It's got to be I can talk into stuff and just get my answers and move forward that way.
You're muted, but that's good. What you said? Want to fight? Fight me.
I'll go with Ray. Go with Ray.
No. Sean, do you have any questions to ask?
Well, I was going to say, let's. You mentioned the Domino's piece, right? So Ray came off mute to ask me if I had questions. Thank you, Ray. I really appreciate you said
I do what I can. I'm a quality host. Yeah,
you are. You absolutely are. So, you mentioned the Domino's piece. So I think of like right off the bat, I think of DoorDash, Uber Eats, and stuff like that, right? And to Ray, what Ray was saying about the collaboration and all this, the communication, whatnot. The difference is the experience to the end user only, being able to have that view. So how does what you do? How does that work in this particular concept with ConnectWise as well? By the way.
Yeah, indeed. No, really, as I said, we're giving that functionality directly to people on their phone. So, like, you order something off DoorDash, you know where your sandwich is. You have an idea of where it is using GPS. Whereas right now, if you have a major issue, say your internet's gone down or there's an email issue within an environment, people don't know what's happened. The end user is feeling that experience. They feel like they're in the dark and don't know what's going on. So truly, we want to be able to give the MSP a way to get better updates to end users. So whereas that's notifications and push notifications, all those different things to people. Even as you mentioned, like social media tools out there already have this functionality that's in there. And I think that frictionless piece really has to be brought to the end user experience to help evolve that for the MSP and help the MSP really deliver that, because I don't think there's not an awful lot of tools that allow an MSP to take control of the communication piece with their end user. And that's generally the biggest complaint that end users will always have, or clients will always have to an MSP, to say that there was a lack of communication.
Makes sense.
I'm not muted. So we were trying to fix some challenges. Apparently, Restream stopped pulling in the chats, but I was looking at the chats in real time. So I'm going to call them out. So I apologize. We actually have Matt Solomon of Channel Program also working with PitchIT and ConnectWise.
Yes.
Saying very cool technology. As the old saying goes, communication is key. No arguments there. He says, I need to know where Sean is at all times. Does your technology help with that?
I can definitely put a Sean tracker in there if that will help. In general,
that's not best.
We want to make it fun. So we can have, as you submit a ticket, it's like Sean is currently 3,000 kilometers.
I'll make a deal with you. You'll be at IT Nation Connect. If there's some way you can do it for me, I will turn it on for IT Nation Connect, and we can do a tracker through the whole place of everything. And we can even, if there's certain spots or something, absolutely, I'm down with that.
Let's see what we can do. I like it.
I would say put on Ray, but I know where to find Ray the whole time. So it won't
I'm there's two places I could be, and neither one is my booth. So
never.
That's pretty much accurate. So we have here, Dr. Zoidberg says, and how would you stack this up against some of the UX products in the space that are more web page or desktop based? And he mentions some of the competitors I'm sure you're aware of.
Yep, indeed. I think at the end of the day, Really, it comes down to the ease of use for people. I think no matter what, we still find today that majority of tickets are still raised by email and by phone calls. Then that probably solves to chat and then to the portal functionality. Unfortunately, I just feel that, or the level of information we've gotten back is people still don't enjoy portals. It's hard to get people to get them onto it. So there's got to be more information that people are getting. There's got to be a reason for you to go back to it. And we're not trying to create a tool that people are on it every day, because that means then that their issues are broken and never fixed. But you got to have that impact, that high feel, that high touch. And that's really what we're trying to bring from the mobile piece. But high level, 80% of people, or 80% of all business interactions are now starting to happen on mobile devices. The average 40% or 40-year-olds and younger doesn't want to sit on the phone and call. When you need to raise a ticket, you don't know the link to the portal. These are unfortunately the realities of what people feel, and if they had that as their first experience, they tend not to go back to those tools at all. So for us, customer experience is the priority, no matter what we ever deliver or give out to our client base.
Well, I'd say two things on that about customer experience and everything else. You essentially are working with two customers, the end user and the MSP. So my initial thought is, what does this mean to the MSP to improve their day-to-day?
So what we are aiming to do is to get rid of the language barrier that happens between people, from someone saying, here's my problem over here, to what it was actually over here. That's one of the main complaints that people always have with dealing with IT. We want to be able to bring consistent delivery, help with capacity. So parts of what we want to develop within our tool is to have self-serve options, which are easily guided to people to resolve and deflect work away from the MSP in general. And our goal is to make an MSP more profitable. That's really our end goal at the end of the day, by helping increase their margins and helping them be able to provide better service in other areas that they want to.
Got it.
So I see here one of the questions being asked is by Dr. Zoidberg. An integration with ConnectWise View or Screen Connect view in the app would be amazing. Is that something you've considered?
Yeah, 100%. We want to stay within the tool sets themselves. We don't want to have additional tools that people go to. So we want to have this with pods directly within the ticket, that people are able to work directly. No one has to come away from the PSA integration at all. And have one of our future features that we intend to roll out, even just in relation to push notifications, will be just to be able to ask quickly, can I reboot your machine? A couple of kind of predefined questions like that to detect the problem of having to either find the communication pieces, contact that person, and have that unfortunate over and back that inevitably happens when people aren't in the same location and get lost in those things.
Absolutely. Sean, no. So let me
that was so suave. Absolutely.
I mean, I was trying to give you the opening to ask questions, Sean.
No, but it was really nice. I'm saying you sounded really nice about it. It was very
You're
sophisticated
welcome.
and suave.
You're welcome. I spent time with Tony Francisco. I got a call with him later, so I got to get into that groove.
Are you gonna raise one eyebrow too and look weird at the camera?
No, I can't do his blue.
He's like an action hero.
He is. He's my action hero.
He's like Horatio from CSI Miami. Go back.
So Wayne, let me ask you something. How's your experience been with PitchIT so far? Because you guys are now, we brought people on that were week 1, week 2, very early on, and you've had the benefit of several weeks of this already. How's that been for you?
It's been awesome. As I said, or I didn't say it, as I think myself, being from the MSP space, it's great to be able to re-engage with what's actually going on in the space itself. Being able to talk to other vendors who are trying to solve like phenomenal problems that are happening across every MSP and they need help with. But really the speakers so far, the weekly conversations, going through whether it's anything from marketing to what your core values should be, to here's the stats that we're seeing across that's being shared through SLI, all those different things, how to develop your product, how to do all things. It's been phenomenal to get that information from people who've been there and done that and continue to do it multiple times.
And what would you say was the biggest impact so far? Like, were there any? Because you have some amazing coaches. Was there any one moment that was eye-opening, that was, I didn't think about this, and I'm glad to be hearing this?
For me, I would probably say there's a couple of ones. One being about core values and how important it is to get the whole team like set up that way from the beginning. But I think talking an awful lot about the stats, we had a great conversation with James and Bain there a couple of weeks ago. That was probably the most enlightening conversation that I've had or kind of heard. It was quick and fast with a ton of information, but it really was phenomenal. And we did have a great session yesterday with Heather to talk about marketing, and that's definitely one of my weak points. So
Shocking.
it was awesome to capture some of that information and reiterate to me that 100% I need to hire someone to do this for me.
I think that's a valid. So the Jay McBain one was great for him. You coming from the MSP side to the vendor side, you don't have those conversations or see those presentations. And if you did see them,
Yep.
it wouldn't be something you pay attention to, right? And,
Yep.
and Ray will attest to it himself because he went through that growing pain going from MSP to vendor as well. And then when he and I joined up, it was even more for him fire hose, right? And because you don't realize you're right in the middle of everything, and you're fine. And then you think you have, because you start up a small business and you think you're, but it's the other moving parts. And Jay's really good at laying out the landscape for you to understand where you belong.
Yep. No, indeed, it was phenomenal. Like it was really great. Like this understanding touch points, how the channel works, all those things.
By the way, we have questions in the chat now coming up. I can see.
I see. But
that's from LinkedIn.
Oh, I don't have the LinkedIn up, so if you could do the reading for me, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm looking at in the chat right now for us. Yeah, Wayne, from an end user and an MSP, what is your approach towards securing the data?
So right now, compliance is huge for us. We want to ensure that no data gets taken or brought away. But really, we're trying to keep everything within the local session, within the PSA as much as we can. We don't want to take data away, and we want people to connect into the information that they would have access to themselves. So it's focused that the end user only sees their tickets, their information, and they can't traverse in any other ways from there. But that's our current approach, because we want to make sure that no one starts accidentally spoofing or creating tickets or becoming another vector to come in.
Awesome.
All right. Well, Wayne, Ben, you did a fantastic job. We're going to take you down for a minute so Sean and I can talk about you behind your back, even though you can hear everything we're saying, and then we will bring you both back up to do that elevator pitch. Sean, how do you think they did? I mean, this wasn't the elevator pitch. This wasn't the 30-second, but they had to answer questions. They were not prepared for these questions. We don't give them in advance. We don't even know them in advance. I can't read them. But,
right. Well, yeah, you can't even read. So therefore,
half the time I'm muted. Yeah. So, but how do you think they did answering these questions from the MSPs they're trying to serve?
So I think that they did well at large because they're able to actually answer. They're not sitting there. So they're obviously experienced, and they've obviously dug in their own. They've obviously been the creator of their product, and they have the passion for it, which is the first essential need, right? And knowing where they're going with this. I think the challenge comes into play, and even Dean was even getting to it as well, asking the questions like, when it comes to this communication piece, even for, what does that mean? And even you asked it too. So I think the one thing that they got to focus on is refining how they respond to the question to get to a very finite answer, so that because as well as I do, when you're trying to make a sale, if there's lingering doubt, you didn't uncover the objection, and they're not going to close.
Did you give them a bone and tell them that even if they perfect their pitch, it's always going to evolve until the end of time, until they exit? Did you tell them that so they had that little warm blanket of comfort?
No, I don't believe in warm blankets of comfort.
And that explains why Carlos carries around a whiskey bottle.
It's a coping mechanism.
All right, so let's bring on Ian and Wayne, formerly known as Ben, so they can have their chances. Ian, you will get your chance first. We will bring the 30-second timer, and you have exactly 30 seconds to do this. But you got your 30-second pitch. Go ahead and do it, Ben.
So Ben, I don't think there's any of that. Oh, here we go. Phalanx is a lightweight data loss prevention and document mapping solution that secures document access by combining identity, automation, and encryption. We transform existing workspaces like Office 365 and Google Workspace or local devices into secure systems to provide cyber risk intelligence of sensitive documents and automated security to mitigate that risk. With Phalanx, we have a DLP deployable in 24 hours with little to no week-over-week maintenance.
Dang. That was with a second left, and he jacked up the first 2 seconds. So
yeah,
that's like a
so
27-second pitch.
That's not an easy thing at all. All right, and so let's hear it from Ben or
switch
Wayne. We're not even going to pretend anymore.
Wayne,
We're just
Ben.
this guy here. This guy.
Thank
Go ahead, man. You got 30 seconds on the clock. It's yours.
Okay, here at Symoda, we're currently evolving the communication paths to MSPs while creating frictionless experience through an app and giving self-serve options. So we're doing this by evolving the mobile, using the mobile layer to evolve that those issues with that people experience with communication. And we're going to try and solve the capacity, consistency, and the communication issues that people have by doing that, by replicating the roles that are currently existing within an MSP.
There you go.
Very good. Very good.
With
you didn't do too bad.
With some stuttering, you still got it. So, you know,
you guys are good. You're good, man. So, Sean, how did they do? And so, while we're talking about this, we're going to go ahead and put up the banner so you guys can go where you need to go vote. And Phil, there's also a QR code with a link too. If you can copy and paste that, put that on the screen, and also copy and paste and put it in the chat. But how did these gentlemen do? I mean, you got Ian that did it in roughly 28 seconds. You know, slow, little challenging start, and then he just got right into the race. And Wayne, you know, handled it like a pro. So how do you think they did?
So, I mean, first off, we put you on a spot and you're able to fulfill. I mean, if you get thrown on stage, you don't have a choice, right? And so that's the hardest part, is that part. However, what I would say is make sure you guys clean up your way you're saying things, right? Start off with the problem that you're solving up front. Like, you can give me all the acronyms and probably a challenge for Ian, especially prior service, and then in the tech space, we always use freaking acronyms for everything. But you know, you got to be mindful of that. You're trying to talk to the mass. You're looking for the mass market appeal when you talk. So tell me what problem you're solving. Kind of, and I like to use like, if I said I'm curing cancer, I would start with I cured cancer. You would know, and then I can say how. You know, so always going with the end in mind of what we solved, the problem we're solving. That's it. And then because you can tell any story after that. It doesn't matter. I heard the first 5 seconds of I cured cancer. But otherwise good all the way around, because you both made it within 30 seconds and you both jacked up. So that gives you some buffer to work with, that you can feel better about yourselves, you know.
And the votes are coming in. I'm gonna go ahead and give it. I like to do this where I ask the contestants. Wayne, we'll start with you. You heard Ian, how he handled. How do you think your competitor did?
I think Ian did phenomenal. It's tough to get everything out there for any security associated solution. As you said, you can get lost in acronyms. I thought you did a great job, and was pretty clear. So
okay, and Ian, same question.
Yeah, I mean, I think Wayne killed it. You know, being able to fit it all in 30 is one of the worst things. So really, really happy to see that he was also able to fit it in a tight 30, because yeah, just security is hard to distill down into such little time.
I love the co-opetition. Sean, if you can do me a favor and bring me 2 contestants that are like at each other's throats, please.
Dude, I've been trying that. I tried that last year. I even like talk shit for them, and I tried to like tell them things behind their back that the other one was saying, like making up lies, and it didn't even it doesn't work. They're all so pleasant.
It doesn't phase them at all. Yeah,
it ruins everything.
I will say we have a little bit of contest from the chat, not contest for the competition, but contesting the responses. Zoidberg says Phalanx didn't answer my projector DLP calibration questions, so I'm going to switch to an LCD projector now. So you know, you have a nick in the armor. You may have to address that. And then Matt Solomon coming in with the solid stuff. At events, you can literally practice your elevator pitch in an elevator. People just generally get a kick out of it and make it fun, and that's absolutely true. Do it in the mirror, do it in the elevator. you're at a hotel, and it's not even if it's the people from your conference or whatever you're doing, just random people like to meet other people. And worst case scenario, you have them for a few floors. So,
Absolutely. Well,
Sean,
simple advice: go pitch to your mother. She'll tell you the
Yeah.
truth. If she doesn't understand what you do, that means you have to boil something down, right? Not saying she's going to understand every aspect, because if she's not in technology at all and doesn't, again, but they should understand, Wayne, your customer experience, how you customer experience. We solve the problem of X. Great, the end, right? And that pitch to your mother, because also if she's like my mother, she's gonna be very frank with you and be like, "What are you talking about? You sound like an idiot." So
That's good advice.
if you can solve that, if you can crack that code, you can pitch to anybody.
There you go. And speaking of the pitch, I think it's the time for the results. Phil, can you bring the results up? Let's see how our competitors are doing. Ooh, Phalanx with the win. Now, I will say, I wonder how much of that is the quality of the pitch and how much of that is just giving kudos for being able to recover from that beginning part.
A
I
lot.
don't know. A lot. Yes or no question. Sean's answer: yes. Congratulations, Ian. Great job. You win absolutely nothing but bragging rights, but that's enough.
Just our
That's
adoration for the next 45 seconds till the episode's over. We love you right now.
We're entrepreneurs. That's all we live for anyway.
That's all we're looking for. Exactly. So thank you so much, gentlemen, for being part of this. We appreciate you. If you didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing, please rewatch. It's recorded. You can watch it at your leisure. Who wouldn't want to watch these pitches again? I know I'm going to watch it 3 or 4 times. It was that or the new Spider-Verse. I'm going with this.
I saw the new Spider-Verse. I agree.
So, and if you want to reach out to these gentlemen and their organizations, the links are in the show notes below, both their LinkedIn and their company websites. So reach out to them, give them some feedback, learn about them, and maybe prepare them for that ITNC win. Who knows?
You know what? They got. I mean, Matt Solomon's watching you guys, and he's the one that's going to host the preliminaries with us when you guys do the virtual to make it to the finals. Reach out to Matt, you all. But I would definitely say everybody should be telling these guys what they need from them. Remember, these are all startups. So if you're ever going to have influence over a vendor to do what you need them to do, now is the time to do
100%.
So.
And the chat's going wild. I have Solomon and Zoidberg going back and forth. Zoidberg pitching a channel program WWE pitch event, which could be fun.
Well, coincidentally, it's funny he's saying that, but when we do the PitchIT live event, it's called the Battle Royale with cheese.
Yeah,
it's a royale.
And
I need to bring a steel chair when I arrive.
Sean has a belt. I mean, Sean has a belt for sure. Yeah, it's back there. All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you very much. Phil, do me a favor. Let's bring the coming events, because we got this. We're doing this on a regular schedule, and we definitely want to let people know. Tonight, Tech Bar Podcast, episode 61 with Ricky Cicchini. Oh, I'm so butchering that. Of
Or
Cloud
Ben.
Radio. Or Ben. And this is pre-liquor. Our next PitchIT event is going to be on July 6th after our fireworks and celebration. We're going to do it with Zen Contract and Get Cadmium, and then MSP Dispatch, presented by MSP Media Network, Tuesdays and Fridays, 10 a.m. Eastern, on this same channel.
I think important to note, though, the next one is at 5 p.m. Eastern, not same time.
It is at 5.
Because we have people from overseas that have to be awake.
We have a few 9 a.m.s planned. This one's at 5 p.m. Honestly, being after 4th of July, I kind of appreciate that. I'm still going to be recovering, so it'll be fun. All right, gentlemen, best of luck to you, and thank you to our MSP audience. We appreciate you for all of your comments, questions, concerns, and DLP projector queries. And until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.
Toodles.
Thanks, everybody.
This has been a broadcast of the MSP Media Network.